I just wanted to give a little bit about my background and then talk about a key issue that really ties in with what we've been through in the past year that's facing journalism today, and obviously leave lots of time for questions at the end too. So just a little quick intro about me. I'm actually from Manlius, so I'm a proud Hornet and played soccer for FM and a little bit of lacrosse. I took my first journalism class at FM with a teacher named Melinda Bell. She's now retired, but I do still keep in touch with her. And, she really encouraged my career and my path here. So it was a really great experience for me at FM. I did end up going on to school at Newhouse at Syracuse University, as Bill said, and my first job out of grad school there was at the CBS affiliate here in Syracuse. I managed the station's website kind of when all of that was starting to be new in journalism. So we were one of the first in the area to do breaking news online, which was really cool to be involved with. And I had an on-air segment called Eye on the Internet. So I reported on technology and web issues, again, when everything was kind of new. So it was really cool. I did that for 5 years and then got a job as a web producer with Syracuse.com. And at that point, Syracuse.com was separate from the newspaper. So we were affiliated, but had two separate operations. About 8 years ago, we combined those operations. And at that point, I had kind of moved up in the company and got a director position. So 8 years ago, I was running what was called the digital operations team for Syracuse.com and the Post-Standard. And that team managed the homepage of Syracuse.com. At that point in time, we had comments on the site. So I had a small team of people who moderated comments and helped with engagement on the site. We managed all the social media accounts, did some reporting out of that team on kind of trending topics and more national stuff. And then about 2.5 years ago, I got this position as the vice president of content. I currently oversee a team of 52 journalists in the newsroom. And so kind of wanted to talk today and then take your questions. But one of the biggest issues facing journalism today is that a lot of local news operations are either shrinking or completely disappearing in some towns. There are towns across the country that no longer have a local newspaper. And if nothing else came out of the past year and everything that we've been through with COVID, it really showed why we're so fortunate. Even if I didn't work in this profession, I'm really grateful that we still have a prominent newspaper in town because, the whole COVID experience has shown why local journalism is so important. Obviously it's a national and an international story, but what happened here, you could see that we were providing a service. It's really service journalism, what we've done in the past year, because the information that people want is the local information and what they need. Can my kids go to school? What's open, what's closed? Where can I get the vaccine and how do I sign up? Nobody at the national level is going to do what we did this year for providing that information to people. And you could see right away last March, the size of our audience completely exploded. It wasn't just right in Syracuse, in the Syracuse market, but people were coming to us from across the state for information that we were providing that a lot of outlets were not. Our daily unique visitor number doubled to around 600,000 people a day, browsers a day. We sold more digital subscriptions in the second quarter of 2020 than any other quarter so far. We started selling digital subscriptions in October of 2018. So that's a new part of our business that we're trying to grow as, we see more and more people are shifting away from print and more interested in digital subscriptions. We now have that as an offering, although our print numbers are still very strong, which is great. And we have the newspaper delivered 3 days a week still, that I'm sure many of you know. So we really saw that there was a huge need for this information, and within about a week. Oh, sorry, I'm hearing a little echo here. But within about a week, last March, we realized, this is probably not going to be that 15 days to slow the spread or flatten the curve or whatever was being said. Sports were canceled, and all the things that we normally have teams around to cover, we needed to reorganize. So we quickly reorganized our newsroom around COVID coverage. We had a high school sports reporter who was planning to retire in August. He started his career on breaking news. He ended his career on breaking news because there were no sports to be covered, and we had a need in other areas. We needed more reporters on health, more reporters on business coverage. We ended up doing a whole series called Back in Business when things started reopening, to help local businesses really navigate how to get PPP loans, and what was available for help for them, and what were the rules. And we had Facebook groups. We had, because we don't have comments on the site anymore, we had to really think through how do we engage the audience and understand what questions were out there. So we did live Q&As with experts on different topics on Facebook, and solicited your questions through stories posted on the website, and did Q&As that way. And we had to rethink how we did pretty much everything. And we were all, of course, working from home with kids, now suddenly at home too. So it was a whole new world, but we were needed more than ever, and we recognized that. One of my favorite kind of anecdotes from the early days was that we quickly created a map on our site that showed, where all the cases were, but county by county. Every single day we were updating that. And we had an ATF agent from the Bronx reach out and say, I'm using your map every single day, because he couldn't find it anywhere else. So, it was really just gratifying to get that kind of feedback that what we were doing was important to people, and it really mattered. And then, of course, everything has evolved. And so when the vaccine started rolling out, we shifted our coverage that way, because people were emailing us and calling with so many questions and so much confusion around, how do I sign up? Where can I go to get the vaccine? Am I eligible? And Terry Weaver, one of our reporters, she really, we had several people working on it, but she really took it on and, made sure that she understood the process so that she could explain it to people. And she got so many phone calls, it was hard for her to even, keep up, but she actually made appointments for a few people that were really struggling and didn't have internet access at the time and things like that. It's much easier now, of course, but in those early days, it was really important that we got the right information out to people, and full lists of where to go, and just make it really easy for people to understand a complicated topic. That coverage definitely evolved into investigative work as well. One of our reporters, Tim Knaus, we realized the state wasn't being forthcoming with the number of nursing home deaths, not just people who died in nursing homes, but people who had started out in a nursing home and were transferred to the hospital and died there. We didn't have that data, and no one was giving it to us. So he took it on and literally got the hospitals to help him put that number together. And we published that story with a more accurate count same day that the state attorney general came out with her investigation. So it's really just taken us through this year, providing a service to the community and showing, I think, how important it is to have local journalism. And it's really due to our subscribers, and hopefully many of you are subscribers, but you make it possible for us to do this kind of work. And it's not just around COVID, but all the investigative work we do. We've taking the time to revisit the Skyline Apartments and find out what's going on there, and do document requests to get information that government officials otherwise don't want to provide. And it's all of that, to sending Donna Ditota to Indianapolis to cover the basketball games. It all is possible because of the support we get from the community. And it's not anything that you're going to get from national news. So it's just, the past year has really been a shining example of why local news is so important, and why we really need to have this quality group of journalists who can do this kind of work.